autumn leaves turn to gold. The trees bow down in highest praise, now made bare before your throne. The western sky.
New records. The title of the new record is called "Where Fear and Faith Collide," and I hope just by the title, people can kind of get in on the ground level of what this record is all about. You know, the last year and a half for me was a time of huge transition and change. I mean, I think the last time we talked, I hadn't been married for too long, so I'm newly married, which is a major life change. Good, but just major. And we moved from Minneapolis to Nashville, which is a huge amount of transition. We're in a new town, new career, new everything, new church, new friends, all this, just crazy amount of transition and change. On top of that, all kinds of crazy stuff was going on in my immediate family, which, kind of felt like there's a lot of shifting and transition, and the rug was pulled out from underneath me a little bit. So this record is about how my faith interacted with those circumstances throughout that period of transition. What happens when the things that you believe in come in direct contact with the things that you fear the most, and what kind of interplay do they have? And I kind of go in and out of that throughout the songs on this record. There's a language in the New Testament about being transformed from glory to glory is actually what they say. I have no idea. I can't pretend to know what that means, but I know that in my own personal life there are moments when I just have these realizations of how good God is and how bad I need Him. And this record, there's actually a couple of those involved in making this record. So.
Within the darkest night, a man was found your saving hand. For everything must die to rise again. On the third day, behold the King. On the third day.
As soon as I heard "On the Third Day," it fits so well within the theme of what this record is all about. There's a line in that song, "For everything must die to rise again," and that's exactly what I was going through this past year and a half. It was just like this period of just personal, challenge, but fruit coming from it. So that's definitely it's been a great song to play for people live on the road. There's a couple other songs that really strike me as high impact songs. One of those is called "First Love," and I believe it's the second single that's coming out. And it's the spirit of it is taken from the second or third chapter of Revelations, where God's speaking to the Ephesian church, and He basically says, "I love what you're doing. You're doing great things. All the things you're doing are really good, but I hold this one thing against you. You've forsaken your first love." And that scripture just hits me very hard personally, because there is a chance that in all of the well-doing that we do, in ministry or music industry or Christian journalism or whatever, that we can get so caught up in the doing good things that we miss out on the joy of the relational life that we're supposed to have with Jesus. And then the other song that really hits me hard is a song that I sing with Sarah Groves called "Tell Me Again." And after I wrote that, I had this moment of emotional decompression where I just about bawled my eyes out for a solid day, just coming to the realization that we are not just this story of salvation isn't just a new thing. We are a part of a history of God working in humanity over thousands and thousands of years. And the same God that made promises to Abraham is the same God that makes promises to me. And the same God that restored David after he fell is the same God that cleans me up after I fall down. And I take great comfort in that. And I hope people, are active participants and listeners when listening to that kind of stuff. Yeah, and it mostly comes from the Bible. Mostly, there's a song on the record called "If You Could Stop the World," and on the first listen, it probably just sounds like a really surface pop song, to be honest with you. But it came from this unbelievably obscure verse in Jeremiah, which I very rarely read the prophets because they're hard to read for me. But there's a verse in Jeremiah where God makes a promise to Jeremiah in the midst of this crazy situation. He says to Jeremiah, if you can break my covenant with the day, and you can break my covenant with the night, then I'll break my covenant with Israel and with the Levites that minister in my temple. Basically, what God was saying to Jeremiah was, if you can stop this world from turning, then I'll stop loving you. And that just hit me like a rock after just out of nowhere, and all of a sudden these great pop songs are birthed out of it. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
Here's what I love about interaction with people in churches, and this is what's going to define success for me. I love getting emails from people who work in the context of local church, like a music pastor or a worship leader or whatever. And I love them saying, hey, I heard Our First Love. Somebody gave it to me, or God is With Us, or any of the songs from the new record. Tell Me Again. On the Third Day, whatever. We really want to use that song in the context of our church service. That to me is like, that hits the ball out of the park right there. That's why I make these records, to help the local church. And I've had a couple of those experiences where I had an email from a guy in Phoenix at this big church of 10,000 people who said, we really want to use the song Fear and Faith in our services. It comes alongside with what we're teaching. And to me, it's the most exciting thing.
You are our first love. You are our first love. So draw us closer, ever closer, Lord. You'll be